great. If you can't leave your base, that absolutely sucks. And, you know, after he won that engagement, he just played out his standard game that he knows, multitasking, attacking the third base while also attacking the main base. And I think that that's something we're going to be seeing out of him continuing forward. But he would absolutely love to take this because both these players, I mean, they're 1-1, so they absolutely need a win here. This is an absolutely decisive game, and it does look like ThorZaIN has picked Entombed Valley, and also both players are ready.
You bet they are. So that means that, this could potentially be it, right? ThorZaIN is potentially picking his last game, or his last map of the tournament.
Right, yep, and you know, that's a lot to kind of take in because, you know, you've traveled all this way, and it comes down to this one game. This is going to be the match point in this series. Doesn't mean it will absolutely be the last game, but you can see both the players in their booth right there. And I do want to mention that ThorZaIN, during his game versus ThorZaIN, he did look a little bit frustrated just peering into his booth when I saw him after that series. He just didn't feel quite right. He was rewatching those replays, and he is going to have to make sure to stay focused here in this next game.
Well, he certainly has a long battle ahead of him. Now, down here in the lower left-hand corner of the map, representing Team Evil Geniuses, give a cheer for ThorZaIN.
And up on the top left side, if you love Team Liquid, or if you love Taeja, or if you like StarCraft 2, give a cheer for Liquid Taeja. That was kind of unfair, I feel like, to say if you like StarCraft 2, but
if you love
whatever.
all of these things that you most definitely love because you're here watching it live.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Now, the map, of course, is Entombed Valley, which this is a map that a lot of the players in the break room and after their games, they just talk about how they do not like this map. But we've seen players pick this map a lot in the series that we've been casting, so I don't know what to believe anymore, Rob.
That you can't believe anything that they say. All that you can believe is the statistics. The fact is that Entombed Valley is actually one of the most fair maps
that true.
exist.
That is very true. It does have a lot of balance. There's just something about it that a lot of the players do not like. ThorZaIN is going to be walling in here, and Taeja is not going to be walling in, which you can kind of see that walling in a TVT is kind of optional. It does prevent Hellion run-bys and things like that. It also prevents super all-in rushes, because you'll see rushes that are composed of just a couple Hellions and a couple of Marines, and they will literally try and break your entrance and end the game right there. So walling in is going to prevent that, but at the same time, should you ever get contained, all of a sudden your wall is working against you because you're donating a bunch of buildings and add-ons and are in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah, so surprisingly, both of the players being able to read each other's minds, because when you're in that booth, it really strengthens your brain power.
That's true.
They're scouting in the exact same direction, and so far have had pretty much the exact same build. We see a small deviation as ThorZaIN opts to create his supply depot just a little before Taeja, because he is saving up to create that CC.
Yeah, going for another big macro play here by Taeja, and he is building it at the south side of his base. Did that get spotted by the SCV? No, it did not, but he is going to scout the main and see, like, okay, there's no gas, there's no proxy racks, like, there's nothing hidden here. So the options are very limited on what my opponent can actually do. So I would guess that ThorZaIN, he's going to have the knowledge to realize, okay, it's probably a hidden expansion. And ThorZaIN, though, did decide to put his command center on the low ground, will deny this scouting SCV as well. Taeja is able to save that. No units lost in this game. But taking a look at the production tab, I mean, you can see ThorZaIN's command center a little bit more delayed, but it also doesn't have to fly to get there.
Right now we actually have ThorZaIN adding on a second barracks, so he's going to be moving away from trying to rush as quickly as he can into that mech play. He's only just begun adding on his 2 refineries, and so we're likely going to see the Marine count slightly higher than it was previously. And meanwhile, back in Taeja land, he is just continuing to macro up. That first command center is almost done, so he's a little ahead there, and now he starts his first factory.
I love this from ThorZaIN, just placing the Marines at the top of the ramp. He does know that Hellion timings are still a threat. I've seen them be very effective, especially you'll see timings with like a couple of Marines, a couple of Hellions, and even mixing in a Reaper, and that is just going to tear apart just a small group of Marines. So that's something that ThorZaIN probably has in mind and is indeed going to throw down some static defenses here to attempt to deal with that. Now, this time it's ThorZaIN adding on the extra barracks, and Liquid Taeja is going to be the one with the double gas. It does look like ThorZaIN has double gas as well, but look at this. Only 2 workers in each, or is it just 1 in this one up here? Yep, 2 workers in each of his gas, so he is not going for pure mech just yet.
Not quite yet. Now we see Taeja is saving up quite a significant amount of gas here, most likely going to follow up with that starport. There we have it being thrown down, and also the tech lab as well. So once again, he is going to be going out with that Banshee play.
Banshee's so powerful in TVT. It's just so important to keep them alive. Now, not saying that these two things are directly related, but we saw in game number 1, ThorZaIN immediately losing that Banshee doing, I don't think he killed like a single Marine.
Nope.
And ended up losing that game.
The shield ends up just kind of messing with that matchup just a little bit. Needing that third shot can be so crucial.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I mean, that makes the Banshee way less effective because even though the Banshee can like slightly outrange the Marine if microed absolutely perfectly, if they're all taking one additional shot, it's almost not even worth the amount of micro that it takes. ThorZaIN's expansion is now up and running though, was able to immediately drop those mules as well, which is very nice for him because instead of dropping them in the main and mining that out right away, he instead can go for the natural. And look at this, Taeja is going for Cloak.
Right, so here he is showing ThorZaIN like, hey man, maybe you should have tried this last game.
Yeah, as that was no Cloak in that last game, of course, and it is on the way. But I do have to say, it is a huge investment, and if you don't make it work at all, then that's when it really, really hurts you because you have to use that Cloak at some point. You have to warrant paying for it.
So I wanted to point out that it was going to be a bit of a role reversal, but instead, Taeja just following up by adding on more barracks, so he is going to continue with that heavy infantry play, as he most certainly loves to do. Now, ThorZaIN's just about done with his combat shield upgrade. And I'm really interested to see how much damage Taeja is going to be able to do with that first Banshee.
And also, is he just going to stick with pure Marine? I mean, that's a definite option. He does have the engineering bay. Is this for a turret, or is he actually going to add on some upgrades? There goes that +1 attack right now. We do see ThorZaIN getting the +1 attack as well, so he's going to continue focusing on these Marines. Combat shield is done, and Stim Pack just started.
So on the left side of the map, we actually see Taeja forced to try to micro against those Marines, and that combat shield just made such a big difference. That Banshee only has 32 HP remaining. So it's going to have to go back to the base and get repaired before it's going to be able to continue.
That was like totally sick timing by ThorZaIN to send 2 Marines over there. He's like, I bet a Banshee's going to be here if he's going Banshee because he knows the timing so well. And also, Taeja allowed the Cloak to finish. Now, ThorZaIN saw the Banshee before it got to his base, so he knows what's up. He forced the Banshee to return home, so if he's seeing Cloak Banshees, he should not be surprised at all. And you can see he already has 1 missile turret established. Does not have it in his main base, but you have to remember, it's tough for those Banshees to get to the main base now because of how the map is laid out.
Right, first it's going to try to poke around down at that natural. Now we can see that it's pretty much as soon as it gets into range of that missile turret, it's either going to have to almost abandon that area, or maybe he's going to be able to get in a couple kills. Then here we still see only 1 kill on that Banshee. I believe it was that Marine that he killed over on the left side. Oh wait, this is the second Banshee. The other one has a total of 3 kills. Now this Banshee's going to be able to pick off that 1 supply depot at the left side of his main.
You didn't know this, but Banshees can actually shoot upwards when it comes to killing off a supply depot.
See, they could do air-to-air.
Yeah, they could. I don't know why they don't, but it does look like he will be able to take out that depot. Banshee over here on the right side does have 3 kills, just picking off the units in the middle of the map. It does look like ThorZaIN will get a free kill. Nope, that Marine's going to book it on home. And which player is actually going to secure the 3rd base first is going to play a vital, vital role in how the rest of this game plays out. Needs to be careful here, though. These Marines could... Oh, they don't actually have their stim yet. Just seconds away from being done, and decides not to scan right there, and instead let the Banshee escape.
Yeah, he does have just a little over 10 extra energy there, so he would be able to scan. He has 1 of them, and now the second one, he actually now has 2 scans available, so perhaps that's what he was waiting for. He's not too worried about what's going on over there. Scans it immediately and finishes off 1 of the Banshees as the second one continues to harass up at the natural.
And I just want to say that these Banshees are not throwing ThorZaIN off of his game. I mean, yeah, he's lost a supply depot here and there. He's supply blocked here for a couple of seconds because that's what happens when you lose supply depots. But really, I mean, he's got to be in pretty good shape. His macro is still top-notch. He's keeping it under 100 across the board, which is very difficult to do. And he may be in a good position to push up here, although you do not want to push up that hill versus 2 bunkers and a tank unless you have crazy good micro. But it is going to be tough for him to kill off the expansion, but he can easily deny a 3rd.
And now that Banshee harass continues over on the left side of the map. Of course, ThorZaIN could potentially be baited just a little bit. Oh, wow. It's just barely getting in the range where the missile turret is actually able to see it, even though it is cloaked. We see ThorZaIN moving around the side. Is he going to be able to scan and stim in? No, it's looking like the Banshee will escape.
Oh,
although
man, this
is a pretty sick surround.
Yeah, needs to be very careful here as he did try and go for a drop. Thankfully for ThorZaIN, this is the ThorZaIN I know where he does not overcommit. He tried to drop and then immediately retreated here. The Banshee is still being annoying, and this is what you have to do as any Terran out there, is don't lose your Banshee. Keep it alive. Keep it being annoying. Use it to fight the high ground and pick off reinforcements here and there. And ThorZaIN, I mean, this is going to be a little bit frustrating because his upgrades are starting to kick in. He's got Stim. He's got a couple of tanks for backup, but he hasn't been able to commit, hasn't been able to do that much damage.
Now, ThorZaIN is expanding behind his aggression, so he's just about established that third. It's about halfway through building, so he's going to be in a pretty comfortable spot. He wants to just make sure that he knows everything that Taeja is up to. He doesn't want him to get back in his comfort zone. But now the moment of truth is going to come very soon. Is ThorZaIN going to end up pushing just a little too far?
Yeah, and you were actually mentioning before where ThorZaIN should try and go for more of a contain. It does look like right now Taeja decides to come down the ramp. There's only 2 tanks here. They both get focused down immediately. Taeja's control is absolutely sick. There's going to be 1 reinforced Zeke Shake, and he only gets 1 shot off there before backing out. Taking a look at the units lost tab, look at how cost-effective ThorZaIN is, or excuse me, Taeja in these battles. He's like, I'm still going to destroy these rocks and take this third base. Taeja's control so far in this tournament has been one of the best, and it is continuing to impress here.
Yeah, Taeja has just completely re-established control of the center of the map as he now moves across, and really ThorZaIN just doesn't have the unit count to deal with this army right now, and so, oh wow, unfortunately losing a medevac for free right there. Now ThorZaIN's able to siege up, but he only has a single tank, so if Taeja wants, he can absolutely break that line.
Now, ThorZaIN does have his third base established before Taeja does. He hasn't transferred those workers quite yet, sending them over there. It looks like, there they go, finally going to be arriving there. So that's a little additional resources that ThorZaIN's going to have. You can see the spending tab is about the same. The only thing that's really different is going to be the technology tab. Economy is virtually identical. Army size not that much different either. But that means that Taeja's going to be ahead because, ThorZaIN has ended up losing more. It does look like this tank will get off several shots, but now he is going to have to retreat. ThorZaIN decides to commit to defending this location. He wants to delay this push as much as he possibly can. They are producing about the same rate, though. He does stim forward. Here we go. We're going to be seeing the most important battle in the game, although Taeja, already getting the concave, has way more tanks and a much better angle here.
Yeah, so Taeja was able to get in there and stim after those unsieged tanks for ThorZaIN, putting him in just a tough spot. He's just not able to fight off all of Taeja's heavy aggression. Now Taeja is going to be able to move down to that third, and ThorZaIN pretty much has to completely abandon it. And no, the SCVs are being sent to the slaughter.
They have nowhere to go because ThorZaIN never killed off these rocks. These SCVs have nowhere to run unless a medevac comes and saves them, which I don't see any in sight. Nope, they are going to survive for now. That's because Taeja may just end the game right here. He can start bombarding this bunker right here. It does look like ThorZaIN stemming forward, trying to take out the tanks, trying to delay the push as much as he possibly can, but it is 151 supply to 81 as it looks like ThorZaIN now. This is going to be his last chance. There's going to be the man mule once again from Taeja. Taeja's control proving absolutely superior here in this series.
Oh, wow, and there goes ThorZaIN forced to tap out, meaning that Taeja takes the series 2-0 and will advance to Championship Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ThorZaIN, he had such a good start here at the tournament, but definitely struggling versus his last 2 opponents. I got to hand to Taeja, though. He has microed so well in the 2 series that we cast. His units just don't die, so we're going to see if that continues in the upcoming series tomorrow. But so far, he's looking pretty darn good, so he's going to advance. Another player, or one of the players from Team Liquid, doing very well.
Yeah, Taeja is just so good at choosing his engagements, right? Yeah. We really saw that he was not willing to fight something that he wasn't guaranteed to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And even when he gets contained, he completely keeps his composure, keeps his cool, waits for the perfect time to move down that ramp, and his control is just so good. I know I've said it many times, but I think that helps him, more than, say, his macro. His micro is just absolutely outstanding. His decision-making is great, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on him tomorrow.
As all of you at home should as well. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a brief break as we get the match set up. So please stay tuned. I'm Rob Simpson.
I'm Husky, and we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere.